Leveling up is about improving your life, not impressing. A lot of times we compare ourselves to others and try to go the route they went to be successful. But in today's show, I'm going to talk about how it's time to stop striving and stop comparing. And it's time to start living more freely and loving more deeply. Tune in now. Stop striving and comparing yourself. Stop striving and comparing. We often compare ourselves to others. We compare ourselves to our past success. We compare ourselves to our past failures, to our past wins, to how good things used to be. We often get caught up in comparing the way things were. We get lost in what was, and we don't allow ourselves to receive the possibility of something new and better. We get so caught up on what was, how things were, how it used to feel, how it used to be, how that relationship once was before, that we don't allow ourselves to even receive the possibility of something new and something even greater. And this thinking often leads us to striving for what we once had and striving for what we see others have. And now it's time for us to get free. It's time for us to free ourselves from the pattern of struggle. No longer will we strive and struggle to be something, to compare and to outdo or be something that we see, but being free to be who we really are. So this is why, it's so important for us not to compare, not to look at what the other person have and what they're doing and try to mimic it and try to be something we're not, or try to do some things that don't feel right, because sometimes you can be in the process of being in the motion of going forward and doing something because that's what everybody else did and that's what they said worked, but it just don't feel right with you. It just does not resonate with your spirit. And so being in tune with what feels right for you, what is going to light you up, and asking yourself, how can I begin to create the life that really lights me up, that I'm excited about, not the life that I see my relatives live, or I saw other people live, or I saw them do it this way and it seemed like that's just the way to do it. So I'm going to give you 4 tips today in this message. The first tip is to love. Love will sometimes look like letting go. Now I want to say this tip because we're talking about comparing, and sometimes we compare our relationship with the past, the way the relationship was, the things that once was, the way they used to treat you, the way they used to speak to you, the way they used to look at you when it was new. And we compare where we are now. This advice, love will sometimes look like letting go. Sometimes you got to just let go of that beginner memory of the way it used to be. Let it go. Make room for what can be. Make room for growth. Make room for it getting even better, because oftentimes you holding on to the past and holding on to something that once was will hinder you from moving forward and receiving even greater. So love will sometimes look like letting go. Even loving yourself. Sometimes you got to let go of your own doubts and insecurities and your own, limitations that hold you back. Let it go. Let it go and love yourself. Let go of the pressure of trying to be something or perform in a certain way or have certain results, a certain outcome that you've been striving to get and receive. It's time for you to let go. You've been putting too much pressure on yourself. You've been, sometimes you can just be too hard on yourself. So it's time for you to release yourself from all that pressure and let go. Next tip, you are on a unique path. So stop trying to do what worked for them. I'm going to say that again. You are on a unique path. So stop trying to do what worked for them. You looking at your life and you like, I want this. I want it like that. And you see somebody else get it. It reminds me of an example of a celebrity who talked about she prayed for her husband and now she has this wonderful marriage and children. And a lot of people asked her, what was your prayer? What was your prayer? Give me your prayer. Because everybody else think if I pray exactly the way she prayed and say it in those same words, I'm going to get what she got. You got to know that your path is unique. So stop trying to do what worked for them. Don't try to do the things that you see in other people doing. You saw that it worked for them when God is leading you on a unique path. And sometimes you just aligning with what feels right for you and you resonating with what you're led to is what you're called to. That's your path. It's not for you to do what they're doing, to say the things they say and act the way they act. So understand that you are on a unique path. And number 3 tip, rest in the fact of knowing all is well. There's no need to strive. Rest in the fact of knowing all is well. There's no need to strive. And the truth is, all things really are working together for your good. Even the things that seem like they're against you. Even the things that seem like, am I ever going to get through this? Am I ever going to get better? Is it ever going to get better for me? Those hard times, those times that you feel like you're struggling, that feel like it's just not working out for you, it is working together for your good. Even the fact that you may be uncertain right now with what to do, what decisions to make, what direction to go. You may not know what it is you're supposed to do. It may not be clear to you. Your vision may be foggy, but you have to rest in the fact of knowing that all is well and there's no need to strive. There's no need to force. There's no need to be anxious, to be worried, to be stressful. Rest in knowing that all is well. All is well. You came into this world as a newborn baby and you knew all was well. And guess what? You got to where you are today because all is well. And it'll continue to be all is well as you continue to hold on to that and just trust the fact that God is in control. See, the biggest problem we have is not so much trusting God, but trusting ourselves to trust God. See, we struggle with the fact that can I really trust myself to make the right decisions, to trust God, to do what's necessary? And that's the thing, learning how to trust yourself enough to even trust God to know that all is well and you're covered. You have nothing to worry about. So the final tip today, before we get into everything else, leveling up is about improving, not impressing. Now I want to say that again because we're talking about not striving and comparing. And I want y'all to know leveling up is about improving, not impressing. We are not here to impress people and to get people to, understand that, prove our worth or prove anything. We are here to just evolve as to who we are called to be. It's not about impressing and getting other people's approval. So focus more on improving yourself and not impressing. Don't worry about what people think. Don't worry about if they're impressed or not. Know that you on the right path. You on a unique path. You're not getting your path and direction from other people. You are here as you are leveling up and you are evolving. You are improving in your life. You are not here to impress. You are not here to get other people's approval, and you are not here to be controlled or compared by what another person has done. So I hope you guys are encouraged today with this message. I just want to encourage you to stop striving and comparing. Yes. Don't do it. Let it go. Let it go. Because love will sometimes look like letting go. That's right. Begin to evolve and improve and not impress. It's not about impressing. You don't need other people's validation. You don't need their approval. So let me know, how are you going to do this? What are you going to improve in your life? What has this message resonated in you or caused you to think in your life, or whatever you're going through, and how you can begin to know that all is well? You want to ask yourself this question. Whatever you're dealing with in your relationships and your friendships, ask yourself, is it real love or your need for validation? That's what I share in my book, You Are Enough: Overcoming People-Pleasing and Emotionally Unavailable Relationships. And this book is available on realloveexists.com. You can go there now and you can type in Daily Word and receive 20% off the book just for watching the Rainie Howard Show. And we got some questions. Patrick, go ahead and read the questions we have now.
So one of the first questions is, I'm divorced and I met a new man, but my ex keeps trying to text and FaceTime, acting like he's trying to talk to the kids, but he's just being nosy and in my business. How should I deal with this?
Wow. So what she's saying is she's divorced. She's met a new guy. She's moved on. She's in a new relationship, but her ex-husband keeps trying to FaceTime her, text her, acting like he's trying to get some information or talk to the kids, but she feels like he's being nosy. He's in her business and things like that. So if you're in a situation like this where you've moved on from a relationship, you're no longer in that relationship, you're doing your work, you're doing your inner work, you're doing your healing work, you're doing your forgiveness work, you've moved on, you started a new relationship, you're in a new relationship, but your ex constantly comes back. I want to encourage you to really consider strategies of no contact. If you're done with that ex completely, you're divorced, you want nothing else to do with them, you don't want a relationship, you're not back and forth, because a lot of times people in those situations, they're confused because they're not fully healed and they are kind of back and forth with the relationship. That's a sign that there's still some inner work that needs to be done, some inner healing, and they kind of want their ex around because your ex is someone that you're familiar with. There's a level of comfort in their relationship, even if that relationship is over. You got to figure out, am I completely over this person? If you know you're over this person, I would advise you to change your number so that they can't text you or call you. Block them if you feel like they're harassing you or they're toxic in your life. I would just recommend you do whatever you can to protect your peace and guard your heart and make sure that you're in a healthy space and you're not moved by what's going on with your ex. Yeah, I would advise you do that. If you're still have feelings for your ex and your ex is texting you and you kind of like the attention and you're talking to someone else and you're not fully healed, I would say it's a sign for you to focus more on self-love, to focus more on spending time knowing yourself, getting clear with what it is you want, the direction of your future before you entertain any relationship.
Great answer. I'm just going to go to the next question then. Is how can I not be so hard on myself?
A lot of times we are our biggest critic. We're harder on ourselves than other people are. We don't realize it. And sometimes our thoughts, we may have going on and on again. Oh, you need to do better. Oh, look at you. You're messing up again. Oh, you forgot to do this. We could be telling ourselves these things over and over again. Mm-hmm. So the way that you stop being so hard on yourself is first become aware of what you're doing and how you're feeling and the thoughts that you're having, and begin to be deliberate about meditations and affirmations and speaking those things over your life over and over again. Speaking of affirmations, we just released on the Rainie Howard page on YouTube free affirmation meditations. You can go on there and listen to affirmations. I share affirmations that I speak over my life that have helped me tremendously. But it really helped. It started with affirmations for me, and the more you do that, the more you will begin to feel more love for yourself, feel more good about yourself, and you can kind of tell when it's off. So you got to break that cycle of that critical voice in your head. Yeah. That's where it starts.
Yeah, and another thing I think too is being mindful. If you can start to create habits that can help you to be more mindful of situations that cause you to be hard on yourself, then you can kind of address those in that moment. And don't be afraid to celebrate your small wins, because I think if you're mindful and you're paying attention to the things that you're doing, you're looking at,
That's
the
good.
progress that you're making and not just the end goal, like, oh, I'm not there yet, so I feel a certain way about how what things are looking like. It's like your last tip, leveling up is about improving and not impressing, and taking inventory of those improvements and congratulating yourself for the fact that you aren't where you started and that you're making progress to where you want to be, and having those milestones to say, you know what, I can take a moment to celebrate myself from where I am, because I'm not where I started and I'm definitely headed in the right direction.
Yes. We got another question.
If you're still in a relationship with somebody you should have ended a long time ago, will it block your blessings?
I think it will block a lot of things in your life, because what happens is when you know I should have ended this a long time ago, and you keep telling yourself, I'm in this relationship, but it should be over. I'm not supposed to be here. That mindset of I'm not supposed to be here, this should be over, I should have ended, that should have mindset, you bring that with you everywhere you go. It becomes part of your life. And then you start to see it in your health. I should have went to the gym. I should have ate better. I should have applied for that job. I should have. So what happens is you begin to settle, and it becomes part of you. It becomes part of you and your character. And so the relationship is not just about the relationship. It's that the fact that you're in something and you're giving yourself to something that you believe should be over. So it blocks so much of you from moving forward. And so when you begin to do what's necessary instead of just constantly feeling regret because you should do something you're not doing, it takes you with you. So in that sense, yeah, it can block you from growing. It can block you from, I'm not going to say God is mad at you and all of that stuff. I'm not even going to go there with that, but it can block you as an individual from evolving in your life. Not the fact that God is mad at you and you're wrong. No, God is love. God loves you regardless of the decisions you make. But knowing that you're in something, you're stopping. It's like you're hindering yourself. It's really not about God blessing you. It's like you're stopping yourself from receiving what you really desire. So I just want to encourage you to look at it like that, how you have more control. You can make certain decisions that can change all of that.
Yeah, and I think that one of the key things is to ask yourself, what do you want? What do you want out of life? What do you want out of this relationship? Like, what do you want just in general? Because if just the way the question was formed, if you're asking about being in a relationship you should have left, then you feel some contention with being there in the first place. What is the reason that you're still there? What is that holding you back from making a decision to take your life to the next level? Why is it that you're in a position where you shouldn't be in? And just like Rainie said, when you operate in that same energy, you put yourself in a situation where you can operate that way in every area of your life. You can be at a job you don't like. You're like, oh man, I don't like how these employers are treating me. Why should I be here? And why am I still here? But you haven't put your resume together. You haven't even looked for opportunities, or you haven't even considered the fact that you're good enough to get an opportunity that's better than the one that you're currently in. Ask yourself, what do you really want? And if you know that there's something better that you want and that you truly deserve it, that you deserve something better, then at that point you can have the fortitude to say, it's time for me to trust God, it's time for me to step out, and it's time for me to get what I know that I deserve.
Yeah. Oftentimes it starts with little baby steps. And I'm glad you said that, because a lot of times you can just turn things around by just doing the small things that you should do and just start from there. Like in the morning when you wake up, make your bed. That little small thing can make a world of a difference, because you're no longer neglecting something that small and then coming back and saying, oh, I should have made my bed up. Oh, now I don't like the way my room looks. Instead, just make little small habits of change, of being in control of things and taking control of things. And that will transform your mind tremendously.
Yeah.
And then you begin to see those little things, they snowball into even bigger things, and you no longer neglect or procrastinate when it comes to things you know you need to do.
Yeah.
And relationships, that's just a whole another level, but you start by building yourself up and being consistent with that.
Yeah, because most of the time people hesitate because of fear. You know, and I've been in a number of circles. I've seen from people with lower education and people with multiple degrees. Sometimes people feel that there is a certain level of education that they need to have in order to take the next step, and that regardless of where they are in their knowledge base, they feel like there's always something to learn, and because I don't know everything, I can't make a decision.
Yeah.
And that'll hold them back.
Yes.
You know, because you feel like, oh, I got to figure this out first, or I got to know the why, or I got to know the how, or I got to know how things would be if I did this before I make that step. Sometimes you just won't know. You just won't know what's on the other side. Sometimes we're standing at doors that are already open. We're knocking and the door is already open and we don't turn the handle.
She said, how do you break a soul tie? A soul tie is basically you have a connection in a relationship. And a lot of times what happens is people identify themselves with another individual, or they become dependent on a certain individual, whether it is emotional tied, a sexual tie, physical, monetary. You know, some people depend on this other person's money, and they're tied. Their soul is tied to that personality, that relationship, that status, financial status, or whatever. And so you break it by connecting more with who you are and who God called you to be. And that goes with you doing the healing work, the self-love, the self-care, you nurturing yourself enough to where you no longer identify with that other individual. How do you know when you're with the right person, when you're used to being used?
You definitely would know based on the feeling that you have with that individual. I think connecting with the right individual takes time. You know, I don't think that you should jump head first into a relationship when you're getting to know somebody. You know, allow yourself the opportunity to level and to grow and to feel that level of comfort. You know, I think that that's one of the things that I knew for sure when me and Rainie were dating. That one of the things that I felt was that comfort with her, just from the standpoint of not just giving it all like, oh, here's everything, but there's an inner knowing that's a little deeper than just we doing stuff together or we sharing little moments here, but there's a level of comfort where I feel okay sharing my feelings and my intimate thoughts, you know, beyond just things and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree. I think part of that process is being okay with being by yourself, being okay and loving the fact that you can grow as an individual. And the more you know who you are, the more you enjoy your life, you know what lights you up, the more you will know when you enter into relationships with people who's for you and who's against you, who's there to use you and who's there to thrive and grow with you. You can pick those things up, and those things happen by exercising, you know, your gifts, the intuition, things like that. Because even now, you know, I'm married, so I don't have to try to focus on another man or someone use me, but I have to understand when it comes to business relationships, people that I don't know, whether this person is going to be for me. Should I work with this person? Should I do business with this person? I have to not only just talk to them and they have a good conversation, but even intuition and knowing how to tap into, okay, I'm gonna wait on this, I'm gonna keep looking, I'm not sure, I'm feeling a little uneasy, I'm not gonna move forward with this business relationship because something's off or whatever. So you use these skills not just for a mate or just finding a partner, but throughout life, like your friendships and the people you connect with. I think it really, you growing and exercising those gifts that are in you, that are God-given, that we all have, we just not all tapping into them. That's what makes a difference, and that's going to help you in your relationships. You're going to know like, something is off. I ain't even going to move forward with you. I'm not, I just don't feel that connection, you know. And so, yeah, be open to get to know people, to have conversations so that you can begin to test those skills.
If you have a question that we don't get to, send your question to support@RainieHoward.com.
Yes. Thank you guys for joining us today. We love you. We enjoyed this. We love you guys so much. Be sure to tune in also on YouTube. And the Rainie Howard podcast is now available on Pandora. We just got the news today, so we're super excited.
Yeah.
You can hear us anywhere. You listen to your podcast on iTunes, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen. Join us and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join us again every Monday and Friday at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We love you guys. Thank you.
Oh, and check out the YouTube page because, Rainie said, it's meditations, I am affirmations, and gratitude affirmations are there for you all to listen to help reprogram your thinking.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
Yeah, talk to y'all later. Have a blessed day.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts about this message? And how will you no longer compare yourself to others, but focus more on improving and not impressing? Leave me a comment and let me know. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel and share our message with others, and continue to tune in.